two players, Bertuzzi and Domi, the rest of the Matthews line, right?
Yeah.
We'll start with Tyler Bertuzzi. There is actually mutual interest between Bertuzzi and the Leafs. Now, the reason I say that is, of course, the Leafs are interested in Bertuzzi. They signed him last year. But you might say, is Bertuzzi not interested in the Leafs? I can tell you for a fact that he did not go into last summer going, yes, I want to be a Toronto Maple Leaf. They just happened to still be there on July 2nd.
He Taylor Halled himself.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And so there is, the Leafs do want to re-sign him. There is interest on his part. He is coming off a 1 year, $5.5 million. He wants a long-term deal. We don't know what that number is going to be. However, we do have a sense of what Judd Moldover of Wasserman is expecting for Max Domi.
Okay.
Somewhere in the neighborhood. Remember, Max made what, three and a half this year?
70, 80, 90.
No. Here's what Pierre LeBrun says. I would imagine 5 or 6 years, which you can see.
What? He's a really good player. 70,
At
80.
$5 or $6 million a year.
So the whole
Now, he's
discourse-
already made $5.5 million a year
Whoa.
with the Habs. He had the Habs deal.
That's nuts. Sorry, and the whole discourse that I've been seeing is that that's too much.
You think that? I feel like that's significant, don't you?
It's a
For a guy that had I have been pounding the Max Domi drum since game one.
I want
right?
to know what percent of the NBA makes more than that.
Oh God, all of them.
Doesn't matter. Stick
Doesn't
to
matter.
this conversation.
It matters a bit.
Let's stick to this
Not
conversation though.
Arrest Gary Bettman.
Arrest Gary Bettman for sure.
Figure out a charge.
And I love this guy, and I love the way he plays.
He's guilty of nothing? Knowing that fact,
let's not go
you're
into that.
telling me
Okay,
he's
let's
guilty
talk
of
about
nothing?
Max.
What
For a
about the
second.
Leafs signing Max Domi, Steve?
Yeah, you're right.
Now, Max did have a bit of a down start, but then they figured it out at the end of the year. He was great.
Mm-hmm.
And I love the passion, love the fire. $6 million seems rich to me. And people are like, but that's the going rate for a guy that's... No, it's not.
I thought you wanted a long-term deal. I thought you were made to be a Leaf.
He is. He is, and he wants to be a Leaf.
Well, I thought, oh yeah? Oh, yeah? Prove it. No, it's over. It's over for this bullshit. You want to play here, act like it.
What's that, take less?
Yeah.
Damn.
You want to play here, act like it.
I would not be upset.
loved that player. Loved him. We'll have to find someone else.
And you do have to realize that for the Leafs to even consider getting either of those deals done at term, Marner's got to go because they won't have the money, and they have other things that they got to solve, right? It's not that they don't have the cap space. It's that they can't allocate that with 4 players making as much as they're making. So I'm looking at this, and I wouldn't be terribly upset with $4.5 to $5 million 6 years. That doesn't bother me at all. But once we get into the 5.5, you're pushing it with me, but the cap's going up. Okay, fine. But I can't see $6 million. Six
is
seems
a lot.
And Zadorov
Six
is supposed to get a deal like that too. $5.5 to $6 million a year. 6 years. Maybe more.
So wait, so the Leafs, let's say they re-sign Max Domi. Okay. And they re-sign Tyler Bertuzzi. Okay. So a minimum of 4 guys from last year's team are going to make more, and they're going to get, what was that word? Better? Fuck off.
Well,
I'm so sick of it.
Those guys I don't think deserve your ire. I think you're misdirecting your ire. Those guys showed up. Domi and Bertuzzi showed up, man. They did.
They did.
They did. I think you're misdirecting this at years and years of inaction by the Toronto Maple Leafs front office and players that haven't got it done who make double what we're talking about. If you're gonna direct your ire, don't direct it at those two. I think those guys are.
Here's what my ire is.
They were great.
So the unfair part to Domi and Bertuzzi, Domi in particular, the unfair part is they shouldn't have to deal with and a lot of the fan base's resentment towards players squeezing the Leafs for every dollar. That's not Max Domi's fault.
No.
It's not Domi's fault how the Nylander negotiation and the Matthews and the Marner and all that. That's not his fault.
Even the Kerfoot negotiation was low-key terrible.
Jesus Lord.
How did you do that?
Jesus Lord in heaven above. You know what is his fault and his camp's fault? This year-long propaganda campaign about, man, like I love it here, and I want to be here forever. Don't you remember who my dad is? And here's a video of me on the ice. Go Leafs, go! Go Leafs, go! $6 million. $6 million in my palm long term.
Well, they got to start at a high number, and the Leafs got to start at a low number.
Yeah, but I tell you what, if it ends at that number,
It's
I'm
not gonna
not
end at
into
that
it.
number.
At all,
It's
not going to end at that number.
Can I give you guys comparables?
Give it to me.
So these are contracts that are a cap hit between 5.5 and 6.5 million.
Okay.
And I'll do the most recent signing. So the signing date, we'll cut it off 2022. So the top 9 most recent contracts that were signed between 5.5 and 6.5 million. Gustav Forsling,
Incredibly underrated defenseman.
5.75. Owen Tippett, 6.2.
Younger, better.
Trevor Zegras, 5.75.
Oof.
Hagel, 6.5. Tom
Younger,
Wilson, 6.5. Alex Killorn,
tougher.
6.25.
That's not a great deal.
Damon Severson, 6.25.
Plays for Columbus.
Vladislav Gavrikov,
Gavrikov.
Probably over.
Gavrikov,
Probably
5.875. Andrei Kuzmenko, 5.5. Those
Probably
are the 9 most recent contracts signed between 5.5 and 6.5. Does Max Domi fit in that window?
I think.
Not really.
Oh, I think he's better than some of the players on that list.
Some of them, yeah.
But Brandon Hagel's
Does that make
obviously
it
the
good?
steal. And the thing is that what the Leafs need to do with Max is the same thing that the Lightning did with Brandon Hagel. Now, he was an RFA, so it's different.
Yeah.
And Max is a UFA. Yeah. But you got to say, listen, Max, we gotta find a middle ground here. I think his camp would be open to that. I don't think it's a propaganda campaign. I think he actually legitimately has always wanted to be here and was told no multiple times. We know that by the Dubas administration. They said, we are not interested.
Mm-hmm. Well, he's not here anymore. I don't give a fuck about that guy.
Well, but what I'm saying is Domi this isn't propaganda. He legitimately wants to play here, and he plays like how I want Toronto Maple Leafs to play. Whether or not he's perfect.
Put the Leafs' money where your mouth is.
Okay. But it's got to be him and everybody. That's got to be the team policy going forward. Don't put this on Max. Don't put it on Max. Don't put it on Tyler. Don't put it on Brad Treliving. Put it on Brendan Shanahan.
Yeah. No, like here's the difference between this and years past. Is in years past, I think the fan base was like, oh,
What if they leave?
Oh, what if they leave? I hope they stay. I don't think anyone gives a fuck if anyone leaves. You stink. You keep losing. Boo. Boo and fart. Hiss. Mm-hmm. Get out. Boo.
Yeah, because before we're like, there's so much potential here.
There's so much potential.
But we've seen the potential.
And now we're like, oh, actually, there's nothing. They're a bunch of fucking bottle merchants.
I
Boo.
think that you had a bad sleep last night.
I did.
And I think you're a little grouchy. Because I think you're wearing your grouchy pants right now.
And
that's fair, right? Like I'm not trying to but listen, let me tell you something.
Grouchy shorts.
Let me tell you something. Who got you fired up more than Max Domi on the nights that he gets you fired up? There is Toronto Maple Leafs of the recent years have been accused of many things, but the thing that they need to be accused of more is having no emotion. I remember Game 3. Jesse and I are watching from the Scotiabank box because I'm a billionaire.
Yeah, that's not a lie.
And John Tavares gets punched in the face or something, and I look at Jesse and I go, it would be nice just once for John to react emotionally to anything.
And then all three of us were at a game against Vancouver on, I think, Remembrance Day.
Yeah.
Where someone, I think it was Ian Cole, hit Nick Robertson, and Max Domi grabbed him and pounded him.
Mm-hmm. The two guys,
pretty cool.
The two guys last season who showed the most emotion on this team were Max Domi and Ryan Reeves.
Yeah.
And if they wanted an emotional jolt, they got it out of those two guys, for sure, 100%.
Yeah. So
and when he did those things and was beloved, he made $3 million.
I agree.
You make double that, your
Steve,
perception changes.
You know that
you
a
make
negotiation.
double that, your perception changes.
You know that a negotiation. I agree with you, by the way. You're absolutely right. But you know a negotiation, because here's where. Do you think Pierre LeBrun got that information from the team? No. They got it from the agent. He quotes the agent. So
it's Judd.
100. Yeah,
not Darren Ferris anymore. Get wrecked.
Yeah, it's Judd. So Judd's saying we want 6. and the Leafs will be like, "That's cool. We want 4," and it'll be somewhere in the middle of that.
Hopefully.
Right? That's what it'll be.
Hopefully.
By the way,
I have a hard time disagreeing with Steve being upset because if anybody knows the team and the guys and the contract, it's probably Steve. And
Oh, maybe this time it'll work
no,
out.
but hold on a sec. The guy that signed those deals isn't here. You said you don't care. This is the new guy.
Yeah, same crest.
It's okay. Come on.
Sign for less, win some games.
Let's not do
Sign
that.
for less, win some games.
Just because
Boo.
nothing you've said is you're going about it in the
Popcorn.
You're going about it in the grumpiest way possible,
Yeah.
but nothing you've said is entirely wrong. Like you can't. The
and
team
Max
hasn't
is the
won.
wrong guy to be directing
The
your
team
anger
hasn't
at.
won.
I want to welcome Jesse to his first episode of the Steve Dangle podcast. Because you sound both surprised that I'm grumpy and right. And I got to tell you why I'm consistently both.
All right.
Damn it.
No,
Boo,
really, I'm not
popcorn.
surprised.